When I was in manufacturing, I used to take staff to events, and there would be speeches and seminars, and I was always worried of whether or not we were going to get our money's worth. Sometimes people would come back excited, but they didn't know what to do. So when people attend my presentations, I want to make sure they get their money's worth. They will not only know what to do, but also how to do, and they'll be motivated to want to do the new strategies. My clients will certainly get their money's worth. I customize every presentation. I have a long list of questions that I ask every meeting planner so I can tailor the content to meet the objectives of the event.
Now, if you want people to change, you got to sell these 4 Ps. A purpose. There's a good reason why. The status quo isn't cutting it. I mean, if you're a manager, if you're a supervisor, they're managing and supervised. People need to know. And then you got to make sure they picture or have a demonstration of or can see what it would be like if they did it differently. And then you got to make sure you have a plan. We'll follow up in a couple of days. We'll follow up in a couple of weeks. We'll follow up in a couple of months. Seems pretty well thought out. And that's the part they need to play. You sell those 4 Ps, people will follow you through fire.
Then some people join the anti-change crowd. They decide simply not to change. But I learned this a long time ago growing up on the farm. It's a lot easier to ride the horse in the direction it's headed. Now, I don't know if you've ever been on a horse and wants to go back to the barn. It's going back to the barn. It's an 800-pound animal. And the more you pull on that bit and bridle, the more you slap it on the ears, the more likely it's going to scrape you off on a tree or the barn door on the way in. So sometimes when our industry changes, we're just going to have to ride the horse in the direction it's headed. My presentations have relevant information. I deliver that information in a humorous way, and I want to make sure there's low-risk, interactive participation so people have the courage to put the ideas into practice when they get back to work. Show interest. Number 4, avoid distracting actions. What are some of the distracting actions you've noticed in other people when they're listening to you? What do? Look away. That would be distracting. What else? Roll their eyes. Yes, that's distracting. Some people run their fingers through their hair. Some people pull on their ears. Some people check their text messages or cell phone messages or email. Some people take phone calls. No, I'm not busy right now. You're like, what? In the conversation, what are you taking phone calls? We all have a distracting action. Find out what yours is. Ask the people you work with. They know. Ask the people you live with. They'll tell you. Then stop it. A couple of thousand books in my personal library. So when the meeting planners or my clients tell me what their challenges are, I go to work and dig through the research to find the most practical strategies that they can put into practice right away. With the rough and tumble world of work, having negative thoughts and feelings is unavoidable. However, if we understand and expand our emotional intelligence capabilities, we'll be able to overcome the negative thoughts and feelings and learn to act in a way that reflects our values rather than what we are feeling at the moment. So let's jump into the workbook and consider these concepts and build the skills we need for developing and sustaining emotional intelligence. I think when a speaker can connect with the audience member, that audience member can connect with the content and apply it in their personal and professional lives. Spiritual fatigue, and that's a sense of hopelessness, helplessness, thoughts of escape, running away. You don't like your coworkers anymore, you don't like your clients anymore, you're sick of it. And I think the best way to tell you that spiritual fatigue is if you're watching one of those TV programs that has those stories about people that have run away to another part of the country for 5 or 10 years and none of their family and friends can find them, and as you're sitting there watching that show, you're wondering if you could do that, if you could just run away for 5 or 10 years. Just take cash, take all the cash you can find. Credit cards and checks are too easy to trace, just take the cash. My clients appreciate that there's always takeaways. There's a handout from my presentation. Sometimes they even get a free book. My style is that people laugh quite a bit and accidentally learn quite a bit. And I think that's a great way to spend a day. Often when I deliver this seminar, I ask some of my clients, especially if it's a breakout session, can I use my overhead projector and transparencies when I start? And they go, what? Can I start out with my overhead projector and transparencies? Why? Because you got to see the youngest two generations just squirm in their seats. They go, oh my God. He's trapped in the 80s. And that's a lot of fun. I start with the overhead transparencies. The older generations are going, must be pretty important. He made a transparency with that.
Actually, his final statement about just being willing to open up and recognize that they're different than you are. And we actually had all 4 generations sitting at our table, so that was kind of cool.
And over the years, I've delivered more than 3,000 presentations. More than 90% of my work has been referral and repeat. So something must be working.
But I had a business mentor that told me, Kit, if you owe the bank $50,000, you're in trouble. If you owe the bank $500,000, they're in trouble. So be careful when you pick your mentors.
The diversity of my team and recognizing how I need to communicate with each of those individuals differently and what I need to work with and how I need to work with them differently.
I think the value that I provide my clients is that I have 2 goals that I must meet. One is to make sure they look really good. The other is to make sure the content of my presentations is really good. And I really customize the content to have the greatest impact. Change is kind of that surviving thing. Change happens overnight, it's immediate, it's situational, it's kind of mechanical. It's kind of like you have a new boss, there's a new policy, there's a new law, there's a new rule. The transition though is more personal, it's more internal, it's kind of the under the breath comments, it's the foot dragging, it's the apprehension, it's the anxiety, it's the frustration. Audience engagement is critical to the success of the event, but also for the success of the individual. So what are some words that come to mind when you think of difficult people? Rude, argumentative, bad attitude, stubborn, disrespectful, loud, lazy, arrogant, conceited, mean, indecisive, non-listener, always right. Boss. Yeah, we can say boss. We're not going to name names, but we can say boss, sure. So it's a lot of fun. It's very interactive. People stay engaged, and the time just flies.
He was great. I saw him last year when he did the bullies, jerks, and stuff, and then this generation one's really great.
So he made us write 4 thank you notes. 1 to a family member, 1 to a friend, 1 to a co-worker, 1 to a volunteer. And then he asked this question: how close to the truth are they? Well, mine were very flattering, because I thought we were going to share them. Mine were very positive. Mine were almost lies. I see you're speaking on Thursday on gender communication and dealing with difficult people. That's 2 different presentations, right? I'm going to an art opening. I live in New York. I wish I lived in New York. I'm in mourning for my life, all the above. Basic black, why do men wear it? His response, I thought it was navy blue.
If I was an actor, I'd get paid to play a role. Guess what? At work, we get paid to play a role. Let's say I didn't make my living giving speeches and seminars, but let's say I made my living as an actor. And let's say this was a Shakespearean play, and I'm an actor in that play, but I don't want to do it today. I don't want to put on the little booties. I don't want to put on the tights. I don't want to put on the frilly shirt. I don't want to bound across stage. You've got $50 tied up in your ticket, and I'm on stage doing this. To be or not to be, that's the question. Where art thou? Would you feel like you got your money's worth? No, you demand your money back. If I was an actor, I'd get paid to play a role. Guess what? At work, you get paid to play a role. You know all the characters. Just giving you all your lines, all your stage directions. Now all you have to do is play your part.
For the simple fact that this recipient consistently shows up prepared to deliver, and clients are always satisfied with the results. As they say, the return on investment is beyond the investment. Is smart, talented, funny, relevant, and trustworthy. A colleague like we all will enjoy dealing with over the long haul. Kit Welchland is a hard